Welcome to Backpass with Ras, and this is your host Ras, bringing to you a brand new episode. And in this episode, we are featuring a guest that has been spoken about very glowingly by one of our previous guests, Mr. Azhar Baksin. He has played for SAFFC, Clementi Khalsa, Balestier Khalsa, Woodlands Wellington as well, and he's doing really, really well as a realtor right now. So it's none other than Mr. Rozaidi Zainal, also known affectionately as Didi Z. So how are you, Didi?
I'm good, guys. And first and
Didi, you
foremost,
can't hear me?
hi.
All right, okay.
I'm good. Hi, guys. I hope you can hear me very clear.
Yeah.
Good and humble, humble and a pleasure to be here. Invited in your podcast.
And first time, have you heard our episodes before? I got to ask you that question.
To be very frank, hustling too much till I didn't have a chance to catch up any of your episodes. Yeah, to be honest, yes.
Okay, okay. All right, let's get down to the road. Let's get
Mm,
rock and roll on the show now. So,
Or
Didi,
like
let's
your
go
T-shirt,
all the way
the
back.
Beatles,
Yes, correct. It's linked to something that you love.
Oh yes,
Yes.
obviously yes.
So, um, let's get back to your formative years. How was your
Mm.
childhood like? Where do you spend
Oh
growing
wow,
up? Your
okay.
growing up years.
I'm pretty much okay. I set my foot all the way right up from Ang Mo Kio. So, but of course, my formative years, if I would say, I would go back to all my school days, which is all in Yishun. So I can
Okay.
be considered the pioneer in Yishun because I stayed in Yishun from 1984. Yeah,
Okay.
1984. So I think those days there's not many Yishun flats, and of course MRT is also not built yet. North Point also not built yet. Till I think I remember North Point was only there when it was what 1992, 93. So
Yeah.
yeah, really the formative years of Yishun, I would say. And we only
Okay.
have Chong Pang to live for. We only go to Chong Pang pretty much. Yeah, that's where I grew up. But of course, my weekends are pretty much in Boon Keng. So that's where my late grandma, my grandparents stay.
Boon
So
King.
literally every weekend, either a Friday evening, I take from Yishun Interchange bus 853, drop at Boon Keng, Kallang MRT now. It's called
Okay.
the old Kallang, the old Boon Keng. Those who know will know. And then if not, I will be in Yishun most of the time. But I can tell you, obviously, every weekend I'm in Boon Keng lah.
Okay.
So yeah, that's like how my growth years are. So at least from 5 6 years old all the way till probably secondary three, maybe. Yeah, that's like my routine. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
And how's your childhood like? Easy, tough?
Oh, today if I reflect back, I have to be thankful for that hard childhood I get. Why I say hard was because those days as a kid, the emphasis was just more or less academic. My parents
Mm.
was a little bit more on academic driven, but my surroundings, with all the respect to my surroundings in Boon Keng, and it's not easy. It's really not easy. Everyone had it hard. I don't really have anyone surrounding me who are A's student, A's, the A's. I don't. So that pretty much sum up my emphasis, which is why my mom in particular was very strict. So my emphasis was more on academic when I was growing up, just to be honest.
Mm.
But today I'm thankful because if not, then I would have flung my PSLE probably, because those days is the extended and mono, you know.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
not
yeah,
the
yeah.
then it comes to the EM1, EM2, EM3, and then now I don't know what else, you know.
Yeah.
So those days was the mono extended, and the last thing you want to be is in extended or mono. And those days I remember my time we still have primary 7 and primary 8.
Yes, correct, correct, correct. I
Yeah,
remember
yeah,
also.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh,
So
I'm
yeah,
revealing too early my age. No, I hope not.
pardon?
I'm revealing
Oh,
my,
yeah,
my
yeah.
age too early. Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Anyways, because I know you've not watched any of our episodes, but this
Sure.
show and the podcast is mainly geared towards people that were brought up in that era, because it's for people
Oh,
who did watch football in the 90s and the noughties. So yeah.
lovely. Oh, okay, okay.
So it's
Excellent, excellent.
all people of around our age, our peers.
I'm younger
Um,
than you, Ras. What's our age? I'm not sure what's our age, but I know I'm younger than you, Shani.
I'm certainly younger than you. Because when you say in 1984 you were in issued 1984 was the year I was born.
Oh, okay. Okay, okay. All right, all right. Okay.
Okay, so And okay, you talk about academics being an emphasis at home. How do you do in school?
I'm just an average student, to be honest. I need to study. I'm not that person who don't need to study and then you still get your grades, you can pass. I'm someone who needs to be pushed. And that's also a reason why my mom in particular was very prudent in my time to spend at home. Unlike most boys growing up, you have the opportunity to have those playing time, like evening you go out and play football. Those days it's always void deck and basketball court lah.
Yeah, yeah.
You're not even having the luxury of street soccer. Slowly, when I was in secondary school, the street soccer was starting to be built. But those days is just heaven when you see basketball court. Basketball court,
Empty fields,
empty field, void deck.
school
Those were the
fields,
days.
school fields.
School
Those
fields, yeah,
school
school
fields as
field,
well. Yeah.
yeah, school fields, and yeah, those are the days. But honestly, yeah, it's just a routine. I'm just having classes, be it religious class or academic class or a tutor, yeah, every other day except for weekends. So that's why Monday to Friday I'm pretty packed, and then Friday evening I'll set off to Boon Keng, and that's when I play. I like really play, but my mom always watch, and then okay, because my block or rather my grandma's block is block 10. Those who knows back then, block 10 is basically the one who has to face the ones who literally face the basketball court and facing the river. So I just have to go down basketball. My mom or my uncle, whoever will shout from the top, level 9, we are just playing football at the basketball court. Yeah. So those were the days. Like every Saturday, Sunday. Malaysia celik mata ni. I mean, you wake up only, morning at 7 a.m. You go play football at the basketball court.
Oh, nice. And okay, now you talk about football, talk a lot about football as well. Who introduced you to football?
Oh, I would say my dad, obviously, first and foremost, because he was an avid footballer. He wasn't so blessed to be able to don the national team or play in clubs. But those days, he was proud to be playing in the business league. Those days, business league
Business league, yeah.
I think business league was even popular. So climbing from Division 3 to Division 2, and those days we talk about playing at Jalan Besar is like the biggest thing. Jalan Besar can be like a crowd of thousands of people. Or Feather Park Stadium, those days will be like the crowd, the crowd puller, so to speak. So he cherished those moments where he has his business league or rather cup finals those days. So yeah, he played alongside some of the former nationals. I remember. He also, I remember, was my pure push factor lah. Because he played football, right? Every evening those days is like this is what I want to say. Given the airtime now, right? I think this is what we Singaporeans are missing now. Because those days, 5:30, 5:45, 6 p.m. at the max, people start to bring your pair of boots, go to the field nearby, just play around, And those days I remember I will just follow my dad to the field and we'll just play football. Every evening there is this small goalpost. Everybody just get together. You will see two, three pitches, a big pitch like, where we stay. Or when I was in Boon Keng, we go to the Dunman field, and then there's so many two-sided games everywhere. The whole pitch is like almost crowded. And it reminds me of where I go when I was staying in Thailand before. Like literally 5 p.m. or I would say an hour or an hour and a half before sunset, everybody is just like on the field. Like everybody all walks of life. Just bring your pair of boots, you go and play. This is what we're missing today, lah. Everybody needs to be at the right place, need to book a place and all that. That's something that is not our culture in a way. Our culture was like football-driven culture. Now everything is just by the book in a way. So yeah, I miss those days. So my dad is definitely my biggest influence. I see him playing football. I watch him playing football, and he introduced me to the game. And honestly, as young as 9, 10 years old, I was already playing small-sided games with all the uncles, all the big brothers, So I was exposed very young to play small-sided games.
Okay. And do you have much memories watching football from your childhood?
Oh, you remember, Jana, I said weekends was like Boon Keng, right?
Yeah.
So we envision ourselves to be the Fandi or to be the Sundram or to be the Abbas, because we can literally hear from our basketball court whenever there's a crowd roar, a goal, we can really hear because Boon Keng is the closest to National Stadium. So whenever the matches are played in the National Stadium, literally we can know, is it a goal or is it what, So, and then we envision, I remember those days when I was playing at the basketball, I envisioned to be Warren Spink or Craig Foster, or I envisioned to be Hasim Harun and that kind of thing. Yeah. Those Borneo Motos I remember was my jersey last time. Yeah, I keep on wearing the blue or the white Borneo Motos those days. And then we play at the basketball court, and then we try to, whenever they kick off 8 o'clock. We also kick off at basketball court. And how you kick off is block 10 versus block 9 versus block 8 or something like that. We play like that. Those are the days. Really, those are the days.
Okay.
And yeah lah, we watch Malaysia Cup football. Uh, Honestly speaking, my dad is a Liverpool fan. So I grew up watching the 1986. I started watching Liverpool 1986-87. I remember John Barnes, Ian Rush, John Aldridge, Ian Morby. But then I was literally more exposed to Italian Serie A actually. Because
Okay.
those days, Sunday, we have Italian Serie A. I remember
Yeah,
very,
highlights.
I know highlights. And the golden era of Holland football, Marco van Basten, Luke Gullit, and Rijkaard was who I envisioned. So primary 2, primary 3, I was always the Marco van Basten in school. I
Okay.
always like to be the Marco van Basten, honestly. He was like my idol. So, and Holland won the Euro Championship 1988. I was
Yeah.
only primary 2. So can you imagine at primary 2, you were already exposed to this. So it was just Holland jersey, it was just Marco van Basten, it was just AC Milan. So AC
Mm.
Milan all the way. So I will watch AC Milan, you watch the Baresi, you watch the Costa Curta. You literally exposed to AC Milan football. And then whenever AC Milan play, I will tend to watch. Sometimes there's a debate between Liverpool and AC Milan. Of course, my father will always watch Liverpool first. And then slowly, I think, sad to see the disappearance of Italian Serie A from our football, our TV, so to speak. And then we literally move on to or swung to Premier League all the way. I think the marketing of Premier League was stronger, I guess, in Singapore.
Yeah, for sure. Correct.
Yeah,
That's also how I became a fan of Italian football. Same time,
yeah,
but of
yeah,
different generation because mine
yeah,
was early 90s.
yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, that's how I became Italian, a fan of
Yeah,
Italy and Italian football. And
it's just,
like what you mentioned, now you
yeah,
don't get it on national,
no,
on
it's
TV
just
and
the
all, not
love.
even on cable
Yeah,
TV.
yeah, just the love, and then just the love for Diadora. I remember those days
Oh
growing up
yes,
playing
that's
for
my
Singapore under
favorite as
15,
well.
under 15. I was just wearing, people were wearing, we were given boots. That time, Singapore youth, we were given Puma, like we were given Puma Winner or Puma Shadow. But I always get my dad to get me Diadora. So
Mm.
I at least get the Diadora Bajo, the lime yellow boots, Diadora Bajo.
Baggio one, is it?
Yeah, Bajo one,
All
or
right.
if I have if oh yeah, my school teacher actually got me a Classico. That those days Classico is like the number one boot lah. It's like the ultra kangaroo soft leather, that kind of thing. It's never about the lightness, it's about the leather, it's about the softness. And you like that, we call it the tongue lah.
Uh,
So Classico was the the ultimate boot for me. And I will, those days we go training, we make sure we kiwi your boot, no.
mm,
Nowadays the balls all got different color, they don't even
yeah,
bother. But last time
correct.
it's just black. And the more
Yeah,
black it is, the more classic it is. So,
yeah.
and I remember 14 or 13 years old, Singapore youth, most of us were stitching. We go to cobbler, we stitch the tongue. So like as if
Okay.
let's say your side, they don't know what brand.
Uh,
You peel off the brand. Sometimes you wear Diadora, but the tongue become maybe Puma King. Something like that.
oh,
Very weird, very
oh,
weird. Those
right,
days, those were the days.
right,
Those were the days.
right.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, okay, I get it now. Okay, you spoke about Liverpool as well. So your
Yeah.
father influenced you to support Liverpool.
Yes, literally because we watch Liverpool game. Okay, I tell you why it's so. Because okay, this one nothing related to football, but it's a little bit more family. My late granddad. Okay, anyway, he just passed on 3 months ago. He
Okay.
is he stayed in Liverpool. So my
Oh,
aunties, my mom's siblings are all in Liverpool, mostly at least 7 of them. My late granddad became the president or so-called the founder and chairman of the Malay community in Liverpool. Back then, he was a ship crew. He was a chef on ship on board, and he never come back to Singapore. So after my mom was born, so he got onto the ship. They got onto the dock, yeah, and then he never came back. So he
mm,
settled in Liverpool. He got married to another European lady. Of course, it's a British lady. And then today my mom has 7 other siblings there lah, in UK lah. And when we knew that time, I remember I was still like maybe primary 5 or primary 6. So because he's been away for more than 30 over years from Singapore, he left like that, right? He don't have a
mm,
passport. So it was a challenge to get him a passport to come back to Singapore. And he was also worried that he will be deported or something like that lah.
yeah.
So finally we got our reporter from Bitarian to go up, interview him, make it televised, and then publish it in paper that there is a Liverpool Foundation uh, run by a Malay community, and most of them are from either Singapore or Malaysia. They were all sailors before. They are a huge family, they're a huge community there until today. Some pass on there, some actually later part of the year move on back to their respective country like Malaysia, many parts of Malaysia and Singapore also. My granddad just stayed on there, and you know where? Liverpool. So he's
Yeah.
the president. So when I got to know, and then I grew more affection of whenever I watch Liverpool, it's just like being closer to the family there, and we grew our bond closer with our Liverpool family there. It just become natural that we support Liverpool lah. Yeah, so that's
Oh,
how
nice.
we grow fonder and closer to just Liverpool FC. Yeah,
Okay.
and of course
Okay.
over the years we yeah lah, there's a stronger bond
But
and love for Liverpool.
but it's interesting you say Liverpool because Liverpool has two clubs. You could have one Everton.
Yes, I be honest with you. In that family itself, my mom's family or my aunties there, there's a group, a minority of Evertonians, and the
Okay.
majority are the Liverpool lah. Yeah. So
Okay.
every time when there's a huge bantering between Liverpool as Everton game, every time. Yeah. Even one of my auntie uncle, who's a huge Evertonian, their house is just at the Anfield Stadium. Their house
Oh,
literally faces the Anfield Stadium. You know.
oh my
So
gosh.
yeah. But they'll never go into that stadium. You know, that's how much they're so passionate about their club. Yes, yes.
Oh, that's nice. That's a very different story because most of
Different
us,
story.
like our whatever favorite Italian clubs or English clubs based on what we see on TV, and we
Mm,
grow liking maybe attached to a
yeah,
player or the way they play or because of success
yeah,
of the club, but yours is really, it's linked to your family as well.
yeah,
Oh,
yes.
it's really, really, really interesting. So,
That's why a little bit
so
interesting.
I guess you've had a bit of experience of Liverpool being the dominant force in the 80s.
Yes, pretty much good late 80s one, and then of course the early 90s, and then yeah lah, when the era of Douglas was over, Evans, Souness, Thompson, was all, if I would say, a bit of a roller
Houllier,
yeah, Houllier
Benitez.
was still not bad. Houllier
Yeah.
was trying to rebrand and bring in a lot of foreign talent, especially from the 98 and 2002 World Cup. We had Senegalese players, we start to bring in the Czechs and all that. So it was not too bad. He was trying to change, and we have the emergence of Carragher and Owen at that time. Gerrard came on board. But I think, sadly, the formative years of what has been done, the good 70s and 80s, and that short spell probably after 1990 lah. After
Hmm.
the Hillsborough, 1990, 91, I think probably that's when the slide, can be seen lah. Liverpool, of course, the Fergie flaggings lah, come to dominate, right? The 90s. Yeah,
Yeah. But now happier times for Liverpool fans.
happier time. Yes,
Yeah.
finally. Yeah, happier now. I
Happier.
know Liverpool is now with Adidas. Happier now. You know what? Because the last good years Liverpool had was with
Nike.
with actually with Adidas. Those good years Liverpool were with Adidas. Remember?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I remember
Mm,
now. The
mm.
early 90s, they had the Adidas kits on.
Yes,
Yeah.
80s Adidas. Yeah.
Okay, so then there is a chance that all those kits might be recreated.
I hope so. I
So
really
you
hope so.
you might get a chance to wear it. I know because
Yeah.
Manchester United are doing the same thing. All the
Yes.
90s Adidas kits
Yes.
or
Yes. Manchester already
80s.
got the Adidas. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now.
So
Arsenal
yeah.
has,
Okay, now
has got the Adidas. Yeah.
now okay, I guess Marco and Baston's your all-time favorite footballer.
Um, he was when I was growing up. My primary school days is all about Marco van Basten. But then when I go to secondary school, I think it's more about secondary school. I cannot remember exactly. There was a mix. There's a mix of a few. I like Aspila, Ginola those days in Newcastle. I like watching. Even I like
Cantona.
Teddy Sheringham, not Cantona. I like Sheringham. Of course, I like Gerrard. Yeah, but Gerrard was more when I was my poly days. When I was 17, 18, 19. Yeah, NS days, that's when Gerrard is. But I think before that is not so much about Liverpool player. I remember it's more about European players. It's still like the Baggio and because of the formative years when I was shifted to play in the defense from a midfielder, from a forward. Actually, I started as a striker to a midfielder to a centre back in secondary school, more of a last man sweeper. And then when I go back to Poly and Prime League and starting out wrestling more of a wing back those days. So he follows what I play actually, and that's where
Ah,
I idolize and
okay,
follow and
okay.
see lah. That's how I would answer it better. So all time favorite player there isn't any, but if you ask me to single out, I would say Marco Van Basten. Then I literally had the longest love for Thierry Henry. I like
Okay.
Thierry Henry. Liverpool versus Arsenal, or whenever Arsenal is playing and Liverpool is playing, and I know tomorrow I'm playing a match, I rather watch sometimes I rather watch Thierry Henry play the Arsenal game because I like to see how he plays. His
Mm,
technique, his beautiful movement, his speed, how he
mm,
go past people, and most importantly, his calm finishing. You never see Thierry Henry blast with his laces. It's always the placement, the right
mm,
placement, and
mm.
inside the foot, the curl.
Yeah.
Just beautiful lah. His art is
Mm,
just beautiful lah, Thierry Henry. Yeah, so that's how I would say lah, Thierry Henry.
okay. All right. And your now to your footballing career. So let's say, I
Mm.
guess, played for your school teams based on what you've
Yeah,
just
yeah. I played
school
for school
teams,
team.
poly.
I can say I'm the popular boy in school. I would say I don't know because those days when you play for school and then you got selected to play for youth, right? Like you got to play for Singapore youth, like Singapore the 40th. So those days, like the principal would like announce, oh, this boy will go to Japan. This boy will be representing Singapore. Then it's like, for then the whole school will know you are the only one, and you're
Mm,
the only one representing the from the school. You're going to play for the so-called Singapore youth. And in Yishun, so-called, there's not many that comes out. Most of the when I go to the national youth, most of them are from the majority from Jinta and from maybe some from the east side Tampines and all those good schools. So they are literally from the Tampines and the east and the west. And when it comes from the north, like you literally can count like maybe if it's just not me alone, it will be like maybe one other or two other player as I grew up in the youth system. So it's like hardly you see a north side school player go to the national youth. Like very hard. When I was
mm,
at least at my age group lah, my age group, I I'm like don't have any. But it also works in my favor because like everybody was just so nice to me because I'm like coming from the north. So those days MRT like Yishun is the last station.
uh,
So if we have to train, like say my Singapore the 40, we train at Clementi Stadium. So the route is going to be like all the way to Raffles, you change all the way up there to Jurong East, then you change Clementi. There's no way you go up to Woodlands. So Woodlands was not ready. That line all was not ready those days.
mm,
So the journey is very far, right? So I will meet people. Those who are coming from the east will meet me at Raffles Place. Then those who are
mm.
coming from the west will meet them somewhere lah, maybe at Clementi MRT or something like that. So those days was like my journey will be always the longest. Yeah,
Okay.
because I only one coming from the north, so I know coming from north only me. And then later part maybe when I was under 15 or what, then there's one player from the then he'll meet me at Ang Mo Kio. We go together, that kind of stuff.
Mm.
The
And
north zone
which
don't have.
which school were you in?
I was in primary school. I was in Paysin Primary, and then secondary I was in Northview, Northview Secondary. So yeah lah, just Northview when I was playing. At least we during my era lah. I don't know
Is
about after that. I
Northview
don't
now
know.
in Sengkang?
I don't know, man. I really don't know. Oh no, 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 no more, no more. My school no more already. I heard no more already. No more
Okay.
already. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
But I
that's
remember,
North Vista. Sorry.
yeah, my batch was the only batch. I think, I remember my batch. My batch at least I remember during my 4 years there. Every year we go nationals lah. I remember every year we go nationals. From North Zone we will qualify semi-final. We never win in the final. We go. We usually lose in semi-final, but we always go national. But national usually first round, second round out already lah.
And is that how you were talent scouted to play for the national team at
Yes,
the
yes,
youth
yes,
level?
yes, yes. You're right. You're right. Yeah. So I was blessed because my first one who spotted me was actually Suryamurti. Suryamurti spotted me when I was about 11 or 12. So I went for this soccer clinic, Sembawang SC. Sembawang SC, the formative years was at Yishun. So my dad say he was also a Sembawang. He always gather with the Sembawang SC boys, the small-sided game, and then sometimes invite my dad to play for their. After they call it what Premier League or National Football League or something like NFL, but the second tier, Sembawang SC was there. So a lot of Indians, a lot of some Tokijan was there, Tamil Madan was there. I remember I was still growing up. So then my dad said, you go and join some of my friends. They are also doing the soccer team. So when I went there, I remember it was Sundram, it was Tamil Madan, it was T. Ramu, Suryamurti. I remember 4 or 5 key players are national players at that time. Suryamurti wasn't a national player, but he was a former, right? A
Yeah.
respected figure.
Yeah.
Then he talent spot me. And he saw my talent, and then he said, "Hey, you ought to be somewhere lah. This is not them because that time there's already a Premier League. Sembawang SC was not a Premier League. So in the Yishun area, in the north area, the only Premier League side was Gibraltar Crescent. Gibraltar Crescent. So he said, you want me to recommend you to go Premier League? No, try to recommend you to play in the Premier. At least you got a chance to play in the youth lah. Proper setup. And Gibraltar was more at Chompang, and also their training was at Gloucester. But I remember the home ground, Yishun Stadium. Before Small Rangers, way before Small Rangers, they already used Yishun Stadium. So you want to be a part of Gibraltar? I said, okay. So he brought me to Gibraltar. There was one more guy, Arumugam, the founder of that. Together with Surya, I remember one Sunday morning after Prata or whatever, he said, okay, you go and see. And he brought me to see the youth coach. And till today, he's my friend, Coach Stephen Raja. He was also
okay.
he was the assistant coach to Gibraltar. He was a player. At that time when I met him, he was already a retiring player. His last season, he was already doing his badge. As a coach, he was an assistant coach for Gibraltar. Just blessed to be a part of Gibraltar Crescent, which at that time was a Premier League team. And I remember it was a Monday, Wednesday, Friday training at 5. Yeah. When after school, go back. Then I go for training. Yeah. But I can tell you, my formative years, like I said the earlier part, every day I have something to do. So when the football comes in, right? So like I said, my mom was more of a disciplinarian. Result no good, sorry. No soccer, no training, nothing. Exam period, no soccer, no training, So during my youth days, I actually cried and was very heartbroken because, you train hard for tournaments, you train hard for sometimes the trips, right?
Yeah.
But due to exam, due to result not good sometimes, and those days was like still the consent form.
Oh, yeah.
The consent form, You play for club, so you bring back the form, You go and play for the club, so you bring back the form, get your parents to sign because of insurance, I think, at the time. And then you want to get your shirt, your size, your socks, all that, your parents will sign, So I remember those days very clearly. And then your result not good, you want to give that also, cannot. By trips, most of the time, I got selected, right? Then you got selected to pay for, let's say, combined school, or I remember one or twice combined school, I cannot go. I think most of the time it's not because of exam or what, but it's because my result not good. So then cannot go. So very upset.
At this point right now, when you are playing combined school, playing for national team, national youth, national team, but at the youth level.
You level.
Yeah. Were your parents really proud about you representing the country?
Very good question. Very good question. The first ever, when Douglas Moore, 1994, when Singapore won the Malaysia Cup.
Yeah.
Okay, 1994, the double, right? Then Douglas Moore came out. Douglas Moore was the technical director, the coach, and then he was promoted to technical director.
Yeah.
There was the transition between Barry Whitbread who came in. He eventually did what we call the Specs 2000. He created the Sports Excellence 2000. Those days, no sports school. So he created the Specs 2000. The first batch of Specs 2000, and it starts from the youngest age, which is my age at the time, and it's under 14. Singapore under 14 are Specs 2000 now. So we have Specs 2000 under 14, under 15, under 16, 17, all those. Every age group have, those days. And that's when they stop all this Milo school or whatever. Don't have Milo already. So it's all Specs 2000. And I remember, good question you asked me. My parents not supportive, right? So remember I said, I was growing up in Boon Keng. So luckily the trial happened at Farrer Park, the old Farrer Park open field, on a Saturday morning. So morning, right, I wake up, right, me and my cousin, 3 of us are same age. One is just younger and the other one is about same age. So we sneak out with some of our boys from Boon Keng. Only one of my uncles supportive, and he knows. He stays at the house also. He said, okay, you go. Anything I cover for you. I tell your mother. And you know what? Hell break loose because I left, never tell my mother, right? Without her blessing, I went, right? But you know what? They wrote in the papers, out of more than 1,300 kids who came, I was the only top 30 players who got selected on the same day. Wow. Can you imagine? I left Boon Keng 7 o'clock, 6 dark. I remember 6 plus I left because I scared my mother will wake up, right? 6 plus I left. I came back only 4 plus. The first thing I get in my mind, right, if I go back, confirm Malay, saya kena bantai, confirm kena rembat. But I know I go back Boon Keng, I got my aunties, my uncle to cover me, right, so I can run away and chill a bit. I know those days. But my mom will be super sad. But you know what? That day, my mom wasn't angry. Those days was like, if my mom angry, cannot beat me, right? Okay, just wait for my father. He said, just wait for my father lah. But even my dad, not angry. And I thought, wow, my mom, my dad proud lah, because I got into top 50, right? I told them that I got letter. Don't say you go already, you get letter, you come for this. So they want to cut lah from 30. They want to trim the score to maybe the best 20 lah, so to speak lah.
Ah.
Then the second child would be at Jalan Besar. To me, as a 13 years old, you go Jalan Besar is like a big thing, right? So how now I thinking, okay, I got is good. My cousin, my all, they say not enough, they complain, they never, I got I the only one got lah. So they waited for me until like 4 plus, because you go after a few rounds, then after you go eventually to the fair park that you play, right? The big field. At the age of 13, to me, is very big lah. But then the biggest challenge was, I go back, confirm I kena bantai, and then now I got one surat, the consent form to say I'm selected. Last time I got this letter, and the FS logo is like, wow, something big to me, like FS logo, no? But now I don't know how to give my parents. So I used my uncle, I go back, then he covered me, then he was proud of me, he hugged me, then everybody was like, oh, happy lah, happy. Then, go back, right? That's it lah. I go back home, my own home, which is in Yishun. My mom lecture lah all the way, my dad, and then my dad never say anything, never support. Actually, if I were to go back 2 years earlier, okay, in primary school, right? Those days, it's not like now. You go for your school game, you actually sneak out from your lesson,
Yeah.
That's why my parents don't allow me. But I always, my friends are very nice. Last time the school desk got boots, they put under the desk, they put the boots on, they save they save for me. Because if I bring boots, cannot. Bring ball already cannot. What more bring boots, right? So my soccer pair of boots, my shin guard, my school jersey, all I'll never be proud to bring home, because my parents cannot know how I play school team. But I go bring the pacing primary school until national. I scored in the quarter final national at Jaya Primary. I still remember. But all the way, that means every time morning I take the bus out of the school bus, I go to this school and play this representing my primary school. Then but then until one day, interclass. Interclass is like, my block is just 2 blocks away from the school. So that morning, on a Saturday morning interclass, my teacher went to my house. With myself, my classmate, go to my house, knock. My mother angry, don't allow me to go. Shouting in the house, wow, cannot go. And my dad, that day got the rocking chair, sit there near the door. My house is the corner unit, 4 room. The teacher said, allow your son to play lah. You need him for the class. Then I went down, right? Wow, that was the first time. Okay, my dad said, okay, go. I go down with my teacher, and I scored the winning goal in the final. My class won. And my parents was standing outside the school gate. Those days green, rattan, all the leaf, they stand outside. And they will never say, you're good. Well done, congratulations, you picked well. Never. But anything to do with football, they never pat me on the back. Until I get into the Singapore under 14, when I got in the top 20, I trained. They never applaud and say they're proud and all that. But the only thing I realized till today is my dad will always pick me up. He will pick me up after training, because worried, like the misbehavior and all that. So I'm only thankful today. Last time I was thinking, why my dad is a control freak? Why must I always thank me? I cannot got a chance to walk with my friend to MRT, take the MRT, sing together. I cannot.
Not the bad habits, I remember.
But today I reflect upon it. I'm thankful. It's not easy. Now I'm a father myself. Not easy. You got to commit to your son. No, it takes a lot. Those days I was just upset. Why you fetch me? That kind of thing. But now I realize it's all good. So I'm just like that. My younger days, my kids days, or my youth days.
They're going into S League now. How do you make it into SAFFC, with your first club?
No. It was naturally from Gibraltar. It was naturally Sembawang Rangers.
Sembawang Rangers, okay.
So, and by that time it was already Lion City. I remember Lion City. Again, result no good. My mom, my dad say no more. And my coach Robert Lim, and that time was Say Senan, and one more coach, it was Coach Swandi. I was in the B team, not A team. There's a B and A, right? Indra was A, I'm in the B. So call me coach, but my dad actually said no. And also I think because he also working that time 2-3 jobs, very difficult to fetch me from Jalan Besar. Those days not Jalan Besar, sorry, Christchurch. We checked at Christchurch. It was just outside Jalan Besar. And the journey from Yishun, not like now the highway, very far, right? Fetch and then send me, then by the time I reach home 9 plus, then later cannot get the result, don't want to do homework. So it's also my problem. Those days I never realized it, but now I realize, it's true. So, cut short all that. So, Sembawang Rangers. Then, after Sembawang Rangers, and then Singapore on 18 for a short stint. Because after that, Singapore 18 didn't turn out well for me. I was just pretty much not given much playing time. Was in the squad but not made to play a lot. Then Vincent Subramaniam. Vincent Subramaniam saw something in me and he said, "Why do you come to SAF? But you need to go for trial. There's a trial at Geylang Lorong 12. Right, we are forming a Prime League team. 1997, they set the trial, and I was under Singapore 18. So I sneak out, and people don't really know me because I wasn't playing that much that year. From Sembawang Rangers, Line City squad, go. I went to Singapore 18, but then I wasn't playing much. So people don't really realize I went for SAFC, but I stood out in the trial. So Vincent said, "Okay, you went, right?" So then I got drafted to the Prime League, and that's when I realized how big a gap a professional team is. And at that time, I was like, wow, first time I'm training with Fandi, I'm training with Nazri, I'm training with Selvaraj, I'm training with Rezas. All the national players are literally in SCF, FND sub 2. The first child, second child, all are Singapore player. The reserve here, wow, all are Singapore player. And I'm drafted into that squad. To me, it's like, wow, it's a big thing, right? At that time, you are rubbing shoulders with your Malaysia Cup heroes, so to speak.
Yeah.
Because in 1996, Sembawang Rangers, I was literally Nazir Nasir's very best friend. Yeah, very best friend. So when I go to SAFFC, it's like I model after him lah. Because when he went to SAFFC, that 2 years later, I also went, but I went to Private. It was a natural transition because he was with me at Sembawang. He was my like big brother lah. He's 10 years apart from me. We were big brothers lah. He's my big brother. So he took care of me when I went to SAFC. And then yeah, the rest is history lah. So I stayed on in SAF for the good formative years. Very good memories. I realized the standard, and it's true lah. That's why we were dominant. 96, 97, 98, 99. We were dominant until the Home United era, 2000. I think 2000 was Zot Boots era. That was the era when Home United was slightly a little bit stronger than us, but we were like close, very close to them, right?
Yeah.
Very challenging. And then again, back to good strength. 2001, 2002, we all again always top players. So literally, when you're on the bench of the SCF S6 squad, you're actually alongside the national players. The reserve are also the national players. Then those days, I'll have Azhar Saleh. I remember my Mazizor Masturi, Razali Johari. We have Stephen Chan. I will have some of the national players who's on the bench, or literally they're also national players. So the late Zulkifli Jumadi, Hairi Swab, when he's not playing, so like that. So it's like a breakthrough for me to break into the 18. It's like a breakthrough. So literally, I'm just a bench warmer. That was when I started to realize, hey, cannot lah. I've got this talent. I was a private player of the year, and then I was really drafted. I was drafted into the SEA Games squad already. And then you know what? Because of less playing time in S League. So I saw players who are playing, example, lesser club, not that big as SAFC in a way, like Woodlands maybe, Gombak. They have playing time. They really get to play. And I know if I'm there, probably my mindset I'll be probably playing more. But in SCF, it's like, you got to be in the first 18. And I don't want to be good enough to be in the first 18. So that was my challenge. And then that's when I made the move. From 2002, I left SCFC. And then I went to Clementi Khalsa. I got the call that the Romanian coach said that, I mean, little did I know that I'm actually replacing my idol, Hassan Maroon. I went there to take his jersey. I replaced Hassan. I didn't know. I really didn't know. Honestly, that day I came to sign, I didn't know. Because earlier in the morning, the chairman, all that already released Hassan. I didn't know in the afternoon that I came on board to register and deregister him. I felt so bad after that. I really felt so bad. You know why? Because a day before that, I went to the training ground. He was on the bicycle. And he said, how are you, boy? You're doing good. You're okay. Just take care of your leg. You do well. I saw you play. I think you got talent. He gave me good words. Literally, I know the next day I went to the chairman office. I was actually taking over his. It feels so bad that they really someone's arise ball. And I think ever since that, he never came back into professional football. That was his last club, I remember, Hassan Maroon. So it was like, yeah. So if karma was to take it that way, a year later, I got injured. The same thing happened to me. And this time it was at Balestier Khalsa. So when I was at Balestier Khalsa, I was asked and I was given a 2 months pay and to cut my contract of 2 years because of my injury. I couldn't recover. They said they needed the players. And I didn't know that Zhang Jun was coming on board to be the replacement coach for Abdullah No. And he has other plans. He wanted to bring some players. And that particular day, I was asked to leave. and the afternoon someone else took. Because I was close with some of the remaining players in Balestier, like Fatih Yunus, I was close to Ahmad Ashik, all those players, Nasir Bidin, a lot of local players I'm very close, Ibrahim Daud. But little did I know my injury was so that short-lived my career in a way, and I decided not to go for an op. I decided not to go for an op. I went for traditional way. I went for a lot of traditional acupuncture and all that. I did my
What
own
injury was it?
recovery. I tore my meniscus. Not one leg. Initially was one. Less one week apart. Also, my left also went in. So both. It's like two legs both at one time. Uh, so torn both the meniscus, and then to make it worse, during the recovery, I also partially tear my calf muscle. So a lot of changes need to be made in terms of my running technique, in terms of my speed, and of course, most importantly, the confidence level, because you start to lose all your confidence. But then Woodlands came calling, because Benga is always like me from young. He already lost me during the Sun Derby day when the coach, that time Max Nicholson, all that. I was already in between. After Singapore 18, I wanted to go SCF or what. He already brought me in to be. Uh, so basically, in short, right, it's also like a thing that I shouldn't do. I should have just stayed on and tried my time to play Woodland. And I know I get my breaking time at 17, 18. I would have broken into the first team and play because I was really training in the first team. But I decided to go for SAFFC and start playing with the primary because I was like surrounded by all the big players, right? And I thought the standard was even higher, but it's just second left. I just played in the primary with Richard Bob most of the time. But I could have gotten my break, but that break didn't take, and then that's when Mazizwan Masturi came in. Mazizwan Masturi took so-called my spot in Woodlands, and he did well. And that could have been me in a way because I was a forward. But when I went to SAFFC, I was converted because of my massive fitness. Those who play with me, they will know that my big test is 39, 14-1. My big test is very high. I'm literally fit Really, really. I think Azhar, whoever knows me, they'll know I'm fit. I'm super fit. I probably run 30 laps in the afternoon, 30 laps, and I'll clock it within 20 minutes. 30 laps in 20 minutes. I'll run like 20 laps within 15 or 12 minutes. That's how fit I am those days. And really, I pride myself in my fitness. That's why I was converted to a wing back. So when I was playing under Vincent Subramaniam was literally a 3-5-2 system. So Richard Box saw my fitness and he said, Didi, you got to be playing as a wing back. You got to be my Hafizat, or you got to be my Kimling as a replacement, so to speak. He set my mind to so-called replace and go to the first team that manner. So that was how I converted from a forward to become a wing back, like that. Yeah.
Was the transition smooth?
In a way, yes. And that's also why I like to watch Terry Henry because he always sway on the left, right? Yeah, not as a wing back, but that's how the running technique and the control and all that. Yeah.
And then your career ended at Woodlands.
Woodlands, under Karatu. Again, came in high spirits. I was signed together with Hafiz Esa mid-season. I remember that afternoon. But that time I was really transiting myself to working life already. I was really going to the corporate world already. And then very sadly I played I think 4 or 5 games. I also scored for Woodlands 2 goals. One against Sembawang, I think, against Yazid. I remember the goal. Another one was against Jurong. Yeah, against Jurong. So
This was as a wing back.
Yes, as a wing back. I remember Woodlands. I replaced Nasiruddin Sawardi on the right side, right back. He came off. I was playing, but they converted the system from 4-4-2 to become 3-5-2 to accommodate me to play on the right. So back line, I remember, was the captain, Simon Clark, Rozaidi Zainal, and then I think, if I'm not mistaken, is Azmi Mahmud, the 3 back line. Then I was right, and then left was another player. I can't remember who. I can't remember. Yeah. Anyway, so that's how it is. Yeah. Scored a few goals for Balestier Khalsa also. In the first 4 games under Abdullah, I scored 2. One against Sembawang in the opener. I was the equalizer after Tawan Sripan. And then the second game against, who was that? I think Sinchi. Was it Sinchi or? I think Sinchi. Yeah, that was a deflected goal anyway, but it was accorded to me. That's pretty much
it. This time, like, what made you decide to retire?
Pay. Honestly speaking,
all this while, let's say from the start when you were at SAFFC, now you are already a professional footballer.
No problem. At SAFFC, no problem. The moment I went to, in all honesty, the moment I went to Clementi Khalsa, that's when I got the reality shock of how you like plead for your salary in a way. Like your performance or your loss is like okay, gonna damper your salary. Like if you lost, right? So you wait, your salary you wait, like that kind of thing. That kind of mentality was starting to creep in. It was not a happy episode too altogether as you are professional, right? So when I went to Balestier, the earlier month was okay, doing preseason was okay, then started very I don't know, it felt like we just need to like turning up for training and playing matches and giving our all is just not enough. It's just also beyond that. And yeah lah, we just wait for the salary lah. I can't remember what's the date actually, but I started to feel like the salary was like something that we have to be dependent on our performance.
Mm-hmm.
That was not an happy episode. And then Woodlands was okay. When I was at Woodlands for a short period, the second half of the season, that was okay. Payment was okay, no problem. It's just that I start to realize the stark contrast on what, like nutrition, like the conditioning, like the recovery, the equipment, and of course the upkeep of our fitness. A lot of things was not like at the SCF standard. So yeah, that was sad. That was sad. And those days when I was playing, I can really see SCF is like a few steps ahead of the rest. When I went to Clementi, I went to Balestier, then I went to Woodlands. It's all like more of kampong already, more of kampong spirit. But in terms of the back end and the professionalism of it, like lacking from what Woodlands is doing in terms of what they give, in terms not only about equipment, it's just the precision, the thing that you wear on your chest, all that. Those days don't have. SCF only have that time.
Okay. And this thing that when you're talking about pay as well, would you be able to share the ballpark amount that you would receive in
I was
this?
getting around three plus, plus max bonus, 4 plus. When I was at SAFFC, of course, it was even better. It was even lower salary to be honest, but match bonus make up for it, and then you eventually get like the 4 and 5. So when I went on to play, when I went on to play other club because I want the playing time, right? I was willing to reduce my salary by $200. I remember $200 reduction, but I got to play and hopeful that we win. But eventually, Clementi Khalsa never win so much, never win. So we never get even a match bonus. Maybe one win is like the big thing for us. A draw to Home United was like a big thing. We can hold on them. We can hold them for 88 minutes and finally what call it? Surachai score. It was like okay, we can still put our head high, that kind of thing. That was the expectation. But yeah, wasn't a pleasing experience altogether.
Okay. So in your time as in the S League, what would you say would be a success? Would be successful for you? How would you define success in this
I
period?
think 2000 was I think success. I had a lot more success with Prime League squads actually. We were champion 99, we were champion 2000, unbeaten, the whole season unbeaten even for 999. Being Prime League Player of the Year, being SCF Young Player of the Year, and yeah, I think one of the highlight of my career is when I was enlisted to the national squad. Year 2002, when I was at Balestier Khalsa, the first 4 game, remember I scored 2 goals. So, and they had an intentional break. So they called up 25 players. I remember they called up 25 players. And then it was just, and Balestier Khalsa was supposed to play the last game before you report for your so-called centralized training. It was under, I can't remember who's the coach. I think it was the Denmark coach, I think. I can't remember who. I can't remember. Really, I can't remember. And then, sadly, that was my last game for S League in Balestier Khalsa. So I didn't manage to go for the centralized national squad training. I didn't go. I didn't get. I remember Ali Imran. Yeah. Ali Imran Lori was the only one. Ali Imran Lomri was the only one selected. But I remember my name was also there already. Yeah. Only shortlisted as a 25 for centralized training. It was my biggest break at the time because I started well that season. Under Abdullah, no, I started well. I was playing first 11 as a right midfielder. So yeah, it's just 4 games, 2 goals. Of course, national team will call you in a way like, who's this boy out of nowhere. Then you, but when you get the letter, because the manager will get the letter, right? Oh, congrats, you're gonna go this Monday. You report there. Sunday you report there. But my game was Saturday. My game Saturday. Then after I ended up in the hospital tomorrow, never go. Then that's it. Then finish.
Would you say that's your biggest disappointment in your career?
No, not the biggest. The biggest disappointment was when I had to walk away from professional football. At that time, I was only 24 years old, and to me, all the hard work, and I feel I was really close to making it ready. Just unlucky lah, and very an unfortunate situation from the youth days also. I was doing so well, then yeah, those days was not injury, those days was exam result not good, cannot go, cannot perform, cannot get out, call up, cannot go to this trip and that. And then when you go to S League, same, you got injuries. After injury, I'll just flimsy lah. My bones or my muscle just not. You just know how to play. I don't know how to tell. If I tell my kid now, I just go out there to play and enjoy the game, and that's what I did. I'm never fearful with it, and I take it within my strength. That's why that was actually my advantage. Being small, chili padi is an advantage. Advantage, you know. In a sneakers tournament, I remember under 12 sneakers tournament at Padang one time. Rafi Ali was the so-called star of the sneakers event. There was a fireside for kids. I came in as the best player of the tournament as sneakers with all the international kids. At the age I think 11 or what? I think 11 or 12. I think I scored like maybe 70 over goals during the whole 2 days sneakers tournament. And he said in the newspaper, he said this will be the next Rafi Ali. This guy, because I can kick, and actually can kick both left and right. As young as when I was young, right, my dad already tell me never with one leg, it's always two legs. So that was something that is naturally in me. So as I grew up, right, all my strength was as I go, of course, they see my fitness. But one of the key strengths is you don't know whether I'm using left or right. You don't know my strength. My strength is literally they don't know if it's a right or left foot. Because both is equally okay. I can kick left, I can swing left, I can switch left, I can switch right equally. So that was my strength, which I feel I never managed to showcase to more people. Yeah. That's also something. That's why I was naturally either on the left or right. I can play left or right back. Because I can cross naturally left. Yeah. So a lot of things I feel disappointed myself also because those days you don't know your recovery is how, your rest is how,
Okay.
not like now lah, all the sports science. We don't have those sports science those days. Yeah.
Okay. Who would say were some of the best coaches you worked with?
I would say Stephen Raja, of course, for my formative years. I will give it to him because he was patient. He was a very good youth coach to me. Then came in, I think, I would say second, I would say another coach is Richard Bob. He was with me for at least a good 4 years. He gave me a lot. He trusted me a lot. I was made captain for 3 years. Yeah, we had a lot of competition. But he's calm inside. Yeah, he don't show it. Yeah, but he knows how to get the best out of me, Richard. And another one I would say will be my Romanian coach, my Clementi Khalsa Romanian coach. It's sad. He was with Verdi Kawasaki. He's good. He was really good. He knows my strength. He knows how to use my strength, and that's when I get to play a lot of what I like. When I left SAFC to go Clementi Khalsa, yeah, but shortly he was called back to J League lah. He got an offer from J League, so he went. So that was a mistake. But yeah, he was.
Do you
good.
remember his name?
Oh, I honestly cannot remember now. I don't know why, but yeah, Clementi coach, yeah, very good. Yeah.
Okay.
Bogdan also was good to me. Bogdan Brazoviani, he was very nice to me.
Any coach you didn't get along with?
I would say Karatu, tough nut, tough character. He says. I don't understand a word when he's shouting at me from the sidelines. Another one would be Mladen Pralija, SCF coach, 2001 or 2000. He's from Croatia. He couldn't hardly speak a lot of English, but he wants things to be done his way. He's tough also, and he has less patience.
Oh.
So that would be second. And I think lastly, I don't know. I just feel I don't have the connection with Jang Jung. I think I don't have the connection. Really, I wasn't given enough chance to recover. He was just, I think he's just exhausted lah with his disposal of players. At the time when I got injured, a lot of players also got injured. At the time it was still early in the season, and then he was pressured that he need to bring the players. I can understand today why lah. He decided to omit me from the squad, but yeah, I wish I can show him more. Yeah.
Okay. So who are some of the best players you played with and against? I think you mentioned some already. The national team players at SAFFC.
Yeah. I think, but I think one of the best players I played with. I mean, besides Fandi and all those, I think Hafizat Jawami is a good player. To me, Hafizat Jawami is underrated. Hafizat Jawami, SCF left him back. He is good with left and right, and his left is equally as good as his right. He scores a lot of goals. He whips a lot of good crosses. He's got good engine about him, and I think he's humble. So one of the players that I never feel that I need to look up to so much, but more like a brother. And other players, I would say, um, I think Nazri is good. Nazri is good also, although he's like one league player, but he knows how to use his body very well. He knows how to position his body very well to receive the ball, uh, very well. Uh, just like Balamudu Konde, good player, but only one right leg. He got no left leg with him, but these are smart players. Even one leg they can make use of. Good first touch eventually, right? But I think one of the best players I played with oh yeah, Ketisuk Sinamong is also another player that's very humble, and I think I can really relate to him. A lot of times as a wing back, he just comes deep and he's not afraid to hold for you. So you as a wing back, that's what you want from your forward. He can come deep, he can collect the ball. Like unlike like those days when I in that same squad, probably if I were to compare you, let's say Mirko and all that, you'll probably not be sacrificing a lot of his engine, But Katisu will be not that person. He will be very graceful to drop. That's why he lacked the goal. But Mirko is scoring the goal. But he drops deep and do a lot of work. But he gives me a lot of relief when I have to release the ball to him. He's always there. So these are players I appreciate. And of course, the Sak Chaiman. The Sak Chaiman is, I don't know, he got 4 or 6 eyes, I don't know. But it's like solid build, like crazy engine. Like he got everything about him in terms of his freeness, passing ability, finishing. The player I worried and scared was when I was against in the league. One of the players, Suracha Jatara Patakapong. My God, that guy, you cannot come close. He's like, I don't know, he's like a different level. He, Tawan Sripan, I think different level altogether. Another foreigner, I think I feel very, very respectful is I didn't get to play. It's only training because I never get to play against him. But training, Juri Ares. Juri Ares was like a poacher, and he shields it like Mark Hughes. Like you cannot get the ball from him, like for whatever the reason. Like Fandi also shield the ball very good, right? Until you pull him down or whatever lah. But he's just so good at shielding the ball. So I think that's his strength. These are key players that I cannot forget lah. Yeah, a lot of players that I cannot forget. These are some of the key ones I would say. Yeah.
Okay. So when you're talking about your decision to retire, and you were saying you're already transitioning into the corporate world, what were you doing in the sense of what were your plans after football at that point?
Actually, to be honest, no plans. And if you ask me my desire to retire, I wasn't ready to retire. I was trying to get back, but I felt it was difficult because at that time wanting to settle down. Number two, the other dissatisfaction was the pay, like I mentioned. And that time also there was only one offer for me. And the offer was not like a take it or leave it. And then also thinking back, a new club into the league. And I was worried because pay again, the fear of not getting pay on time, the standard, the management, the setup.
Which club was that?
It was Paya Lebar. I can't remember the name now. Paya Lebar.
Oh, okay, the one playing in Hougang Stadium.
Yeah.
Paya Lebar.
So,
Paya Lebar.
yeah, it was.
CFC or something.
It was Chow Kwai Lam, the Malaysian coach. Yeah. So he remembered me because SCF played a pre-season against KL at Merdeka. So that match was raining, and I remember I dislocated my shoulder. He brought me inside. He helped me, So he remembered me, and it was easy connection. And he was said, okay, but the pay, and then the offer, and then the expectation, and then I know that I'm just going to be just fringe player again. At that age, I wanted to be playing a lot, so it wasn't something that I wanted to lah. And then that's when the crossroad came, and that day, that time, that moment, I had to decide. The only thing that pushed me on was, hey, this is a chance I can wear smart clothes, man. Those days, you've been like into football for 6-7 years, right? Suddenly you get a chance to wear smart clothes, wear tie. Like the time was like, oh, that's the thing. I want to wear. So there was okay lah. I work in the corporate world lah. Then I got a job lah in HSBC, and then I start to wear tie. I start to wear shirt. And
it's a banker in HSBC.
As a personal wealth manager in the bank.
Right.
PWM, yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, we also won the Interbank tournament. First time HSBC won Interbank tournament. I was playing for HSBC. Suramuti was also playing. He was also at HSBC. I didn't know until the tournament came. Yeah, then we just gather for the night side. We won, man. We won. Interbank tournament. And then first time we just brought a big trophy back and we won. And then that was when I think I started to play NFL football. 2006. So Tuhari Pajan came out of Tanjung Pagar, Tiong Baru. He went to assist this club called Kaki Bukit, where Fandi also played as a youth. So I came back to play Kaki Bukit along with some ex-national, ex-SC player. Me, I don't know if you know players like Anwar Shah, Sutisno, Zainal Zanuddin, Hafiz Issa. They came on board and play for Kaki Bukit. And then we became champion. Obviously, Division 3 champion, Division 2 champion, back to back. And then when you go Division 1, many people don't want to play. So it's like, so I went to play for Kaki Bukit after that. Division 3 champion and Division 2 champion. Yeah, that's a story lah.
So from a banker, how do you become a realtor then?
Oh wow. So as a banker for almost 2 years, and then I got an offer from my own manager in the bank who went on to work for the Japanese embassy. And there was a department called Japan External Trade Organization, JETRO, who needs an advert or so-called an advertising staff doing corporate sales. So he said, did he come for interview lah? Maybe you are pleasant, you can get a job, and I would like you to be on board. And I went there. So when I was there, I was more of a liaison officer, and my role was to facilitate any Japanese who are moving to the country and handle their accommodation, their family's accommodation, their car, their rental car, their kids' school, how far. I got to get a house that is within distance of their conveniences and within the company's budget that's given. So my role was like fact finding and getting them the property, and then I will go work with the property agent. I'm not a property agent, I work for the JETRO, I represent the Japanese. I'll bring in the Japanese and work with the agent to see houses. That's when I was exposed to a lot of properties. And of course, Japanese all will take private property. So I was exposed to a lot of private property those 2.5 years. And then that's when I start to fall. I think then I learned, and I mixed now with all the agents, right? I think I want to be agent lah. Because I looked at condos so nice as this. Wow. Then I said, I want to be agent. So that's why I became agent. So I became a property agent myself. I took the test, I passed, and I became property agent until today.
What's the secret to your success? We can see behind you all the trophies that you've got, accolades.
Success. I think to me, today is all about don't care, just share. That's my simplest motto. Don't care, just share. Whatever you have in you, whatever you know, whatever that you think you can empower people's life, just do it and share. Because today it can be relevant, the next month it may not be anymore due to any measures or government changes and rulings and all that. So I think most important is to always showcase my presence. Being in real estate is a humbling journey. It's been a humbling 16 years. I started from a rental agent for a good 5 years doing just private property rental, and then slowly embarking to learning how to increase one's net worth through property, through my own journey, through clients' experiences that they share, and through the journey that I was given the chance to walk with them. Many times I was just lucky. I would say I'm just blessed, because if you hear my story about football, where I say I'm always unlucky in a way, but real estate has always been lucky moments, lucky places, right time, right place, and I always got the nod that the last thing you want is to be doing something that is 6:30, right? So you want to do the best you can, right? And just like football, you want to end the game until the injury time, until the final whistle, right? Same. Real estate also is the same adrenaline that comes to me the moment the whistle blows, and that's when my journey starts, and I make sure till the end. I want to make sure that I has a very nice journey. A very nice journey, yeah. A win, so to speak. We want to go for a win. So every time it's like another match, another win with another client. Yeah. Not winning against them, but a win for them.
Win for them, yeah. I get it.
Yeah, win for them, yes.
Even that point you brought up about football, you being unlucky in football, and then you're having more luck in the property business. I would say that, having shared your journey, I'm sure as at the very start you would wanted to have been very successful in football.
Yeah.
Because that's your passion, that's your your ultimate joy, right? Playing football. Not every one of us, all of us love football. All of us had dreams to be professional footballers, but not everyone became professional footballer. You had that opportunity, but unfortunately you couldn't achieve the success you wanted.
Yeah.
But now here you are, as a realtor, and and then you've achieved that success that you feel that you missed out on as a footballer. Maybe in that way, probably God is kind that He took something away from you, gave you something else, maybe, and you are
Right.
probably suited for this.
I think you have wrapped it up very well for me. In a way, that was what I was going to. I mean, I had that in my mind about if let's say today, um, if I would to want to go back to that journey, I would say probably not, because I think I feel I'm blessed to whatever I have today. I think I've got no complaints. Really, I've got no complaints about what I'm having now. I'm just like I said. I think God has been kind to me. God has been kind to me. What I didn't manage to achieve in my football career, I think most importantly, I think I achieved it in a lot of lives the last 16 years. You know,
Mm.
for people who watch me through football, if I didn't make them happy with my performance, but today at least I can say I make a lot of family happy with our journey or their life rather, So like you said, God is just kind to me. Today, the last 16 years, they have been kind. I even said to some of the footballers who are relatives today, like
Yeah,
those
yeah.
close ones like Azhar, even Ibrahim Daud, who's also, I tell them how I wish, how I wish I could have just started my real estate career way earlier.
Mm.
How I wish, Yeah, but yeah, lah. Yeah.
And now coming back to your parents as well, how
Mm.
strict they were at the very start. They didn't let you
Oh,
go out to play all these
uh,
games, and then you
you,
became a
you,
professional
you,
footballer. So when you were a professional footballer, what was your reaction towards you? I'm sure they wouldn't
oh,
have
oh,
thought I
oh,
want my son to be a
yeah,
professional
yeah,
footballer.
yeah, no, 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 no. But you know what? Honestly, when I think they saw the light in me when I was playing for SAF. I think one thing for sure, I don't know about now. I don't know about now, yeah. But those days, when you go for your NS, you go for your NS,
Yeah.
every year there'll be players who have been playing in the S League, and there's only a few lucky ones who get to go into donning SAFC or Home United jersey, during the NS days.
Mm.
The rest will go and play for the Police SA and the SAFSA.
Yeah.
You know, so so if you ask me, right, I'll count my lucky stars, because I'm not the most popular player. Prior to, there are a lot of other players who are playing for S League clubs, and they were playing S League before they even went to NS, for instance, right? But I never made my debut before national service, man. Never.
Mm.
But I just got lucky that during NS, Fandi, Richard Bock, they wanted me to be in the SFFC, and instead of letting me go to SAFSA. So
Mm.
that was when I think my parents realized, wow, I think my son not bad. Instead of going to army, he now don't need to don the army. You went for BMT 3 months, then you came out. Fandi was the man who fetched me. I remember Fandi was the man who was fetching me from Tekong, bring me, because his mom house was just opposite my house.
Okay.
Went back to me, and a lot of times after, because those days we were training at Jurong Stadium, the Chinbi Road, old Chinbi Road. So every time after training, he wait for me, or I wait for him outside lah. Either or, but usually he wait for me because he's a coach, right? So usually
Mm.
get changed earlier than me as a player. So he wait for me in the car. He make his calls, and then he wait for me. He'll send me home almost every day. And sometimes he'll pick me up from school. Okay, date where? Then I say I'm at Singapore Poly, right? He'll fetch me lah. He'll fetch me either at Clementi. Sometimes he take me from Clementi MRT, the main bus stop, or because that way to go Jurong, right? Or he asked me, okay, today can you go take MRT, go Jurong East, or today can you take MRT alight at Bukit Batok? I just go.
Mm.
Then he'll fetch me at about 4:30, because he, as a coach, he always go earlier. So I also follow him. Then so sometimes he'll come into school. Those days, Fandi is still Fandi lah.
Yeah,
He goes
yeah.
to school, wow, Fandi, who's that? Then some of my colleagues, wow, you footballer, because I'm still in the Premier League, right? Nobody will know. But
Mm.
as a youth, as a private player, I got a chance to go with him, and he fetched me from school. He sent me home. People don't know lah, but he fetched me from school. He fetched me from this place, that place. I was that close to him for a good 3 years until he became the coach. From a player, to become an assistant coach, to become the main coach. I was there with him all the while, and we grew our bonds closer lah. But yeah, I think that was when my parents start to feel, my son actually not bad. I think he can make it in football lah. So that's when they started to come for my matches. They also my biggest critic, especially my dad. But biggest critic in a positive manner. They guided me to become a better player lah, obviously. But definitely not during my teens, during my I played well. I played man of the match. I score a winning goal. No pat on the back, nothing. Just quiet only. Just like I never did anything. Anything well.
Okay, yeah. Thanks a lot, Didi, for sharing your journey.
problem.
It's
No
been a
problem.
beautiful journey. I wish you all the best. I know
Yeah.
recently you've had some health scare as well. I wish you all the very best in that,
Thank
especially
you.
health comes before everything.
Yes, thank you. And
They
thank you
always say
for.
health is wealth, right?
Yes,
So
yes, yes, yes,
health
yes.
is the real wealth.
Yeah. Thank you
So
so
yeah,
much, Ras, for having me in your podcast. And I wish you very well.
thank you.
Hopefully, this podcast will do a lot good. And hopefully, most importantly, we get to touch more lives and we get to inspire people. And most
Yeah.
importantly, we get to inspire more lives towards greatness,
Yeah.
goodness, and yeah, that's what we want to do. I think everyday life after football for me has been jolly well a lot more related to touching lives also, but not on the field, not my feet doing the talking, but now my brain and all the numbers floating around. Yeah.
And before you leave, I think
Ah,
very briefly, just share with us what are some of the pitfalls of being in this industry.
real estate.
Yes.
Real estate. I think the common pitfalls is when you don't manage your money, you don't manage your funds. And the scariest part is when you don't walk the talk. What I mean by walking the talk is not about how you do your work, but how you actually elevate your own net worth. How you as a realtor actually elevated your own asset journey. Okay, so I'm not against those who are, with all due respect, yeah, I'm not against those agents who are just staying in HDB or condo or not having multiple properties. It's not about that, but it's about at least experiencing it, at least doing what you're actually preaching. For instance, today when I meet someone, it's never about asking them to sell or it's never about asking them to buy, but it's about understanding and being aligned towards their retirement plan. What is your net worth that you want to have? Because to put it clearly in the context of loans, for instance, our mortgage loan is only up to the age of 65. So am I right to say, no matter what, as a Singaporean, you probably will have a fully paid property at the age of 65. Am I right to say? Because your loan can only be stretched up to 65. Of course, you can stretch it further to 75. But at the first start, when you sign your letter of will, it's only up to 65. So whatever it is, as a Singaporean, you are in need to consider or think through what will be your net worth when you are at 65. Because if you're not concerned or not worried about that, then you need to start looking around and seeing what are the property prices behavior. Today you see a BTO that is just 5 years old, a 3 room hitting 900,000. So am I right to say if you're holding on to an EA which is worth 900,000 today, 20 years down the road, if let's say today you're 45, you intend to fully pay the house before 65. Good. So at 65, let's say your kid needs a fund or due to health reason, touch wood, or whatever reason you want to cash out. My question to you, in 20 years' time, that EA that you have, in 20 years' time, how much will it be? Let's say assume it becomes 1.4 million. Okay? So today, if I tell you today already a 3 room already costs $1 million or 900,000, so to speak. A 4 room, a 5 room in Woodley, Bungking, they're already hitting above 1 million. So my question to you is, at that time, if you want to right size your property, your EA, let's say example, is worth 1.4 million. If you need to right size to buy a 3 room flat, probably you get it at around 700,000-800,000. My question to you is, after buying, of course you cannot take a loan, you fully pay, right? So you are left with how much left? Maybe 500,000, 400,000. So my question is it enough at that time with the rising inflation? Would it be enough to just have 300,000-400,000 in your bank account for retirement? Our average age of a life, averagely will be in the 80s. Lah. You live up to 80s. Lah. Okay? So I want everybody to consider this very importantly. So that's why as a realtor, the most important thing for me, the common pitfalls of agents is not looking after their retirement plan. Before they even pitch to a client, sell lah, buy lah, but are they actually looking after themselves, their own net worth? Because that is exactly how people will look at you eventually. So that's why I always encourage agents to actually look after their own net worth. Net worth is not about the watches you wear, the cars you drive. It's not. It's about end goal. Your end goal, your property net worth, how much? With all due respect to your insurance plans, your savings plans, whatever amount of cash flow you have, your net worth on property as an agent, the pitfall I see today is they are not overly concerned about their property net worth. So many a times, those seasoned agents, with all due respect, I hope they're not watching this, but those who are in the industry for 20 years, 25 years, I'm telling you, eventually I hear them going to 3 room, 4 room, fully paid. So to me, they've done a lot of favors and helping a lot of lives, helping people, probably with or without they knowing, they help a lot of life. Maybe now today, eventually stay in a condo or landed property. But they didn't do enough justice to themselves. They should be also doing that. When they pitch, they also should be in that column. If I can say, I wish most agents have this same capability, but the pitfall is not managing that net worth, in short. So that's the only thing that I hope most realtors can take notice, because every day you preach that, not because you want people to idolize you and because of what you want to show you have money and not know, but at least people see, oh, you actually built your net worth because you actually work with a lot of lives and you did the right way. So people can see it through your own property journey. That's how I feel. Yeah.
Okay.
Very important. Very important.
All right. So hopefully any property agents listening into this
Yes.
would take that advice.
Yes, please.
All right,
And
Didi.
have coffee with me.
Thanks
Yes.
a lot.
Thank
Thanks a lot
you
once again.
so much, Ras.
Before I leave, anyone you want us to interview next?
Wow, I don't know. Maybe. Hmm, don't know. I don't know. But if you talk about common friends, maybe you can. I don't know. Does it need to be okay? Maybe you can interview. Samad. I think if you ask me, I think because he's someone who also is okay. He's done well. He's also played a lot of youth football. He also played in the S League for, I think, if I'm not wrong, SAFFC and I think Tempest Rovers. And then he's been glued to Tempest Rovers president Komoko Motors, and that's where he is today. I think for more than almost, I think 20 years he's been working for Komoko Motors. Together with some of the ex-footballers like Satya and Sharifuddin Mahmood and Harizan Jufri also, I heard work there. No Alam Shah also worked there for a while, all under his care. So maybe he is someone who has a lot to talk about in terms of career transition.
Okay. Samad.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Got it.
Alrighty.
All right. Cheers. Thank
Take
you.
care. Cheers. Take care.
And everyone else watching, listening, please remember to like, share, and subscribe.
Yes. Thank you.
Take care.
Like, share. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye-bye. Good night.
Bye. Good night.